Hello everyone, and welcome once again to another program of Prime Time. I'm your host Beverly, and as usual we've been doing some special research, and we have with us a gentleman who's no stranger to Prime Time. He always has a cause, he always has something that he's very passionate about, and so today we will be tackling the very sensitive topic of elderly abuse. There's lots of pertinent information that we're going to be sharing, some personal experiences, so you want to stick around for today's program. We'll be back in a moment.
At Nagico, the things that matter to you matter to us. Like knowing you're fully covered after an accident, the security of your home and everything in it that means so much to you. And knowing that even when the weather does its worst, you and your family are covered. At Nagico, we're about much more than just insurance. We're about the big things and the small things that mean everything.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and an exciting new airport mall. Finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.
As I mentioned in my opening, today we have a gentleman in studio with us who always has a cause that he wants to bring to the general public. He's very passionate about what he does, and that is Dr. Raymond Jessurun. And he today is the ambassador to international organizations, for example, UNESCO and so on, but he's wearing the cap of the elderly abuse. And coming up in the next week or so is World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day. And so we thought we would bring him in and chat a little bit about elderly abuse. It's not a very positive topic, but we need to bring it in the forefront. Thank you so much, Raymond, for joining us on the program.
Thank you for your invitation also.
Yeah.
And I think that we can make it positive. We have to talk about something to address it and to see what is the development until now, what have we achieved, because on June the 15th of this year, it is the 10th commemorative year of World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day. And so what have we achieved? What is it that we see as a positive development? Because that is important that we look at that. And of course, there are things that is not so nice that we have to address, and it's good that we understand that.
How prevalent is it on the island? Is there a lot of elderly abuse?
Okay, we have no figures in St. Martin. The World Health Organization estimates that between 4 and 6% of the elderly have reported that they are being abused. But they also, in the same phrase, they say that a lot of elderly don't want to say nothing because they are dependent of the persons that are helping them. And they're experiencing their abuse. Everyone that visits elderly, so now and then you will hear what is their complaint, what is their concern. And to understand it, when it becomes abuse and complaint, if someone is reporting to you an act or negligence that is bothering them, it becomes elderly abuse.
Right.
Why? Because for your health and your well-being, you must actually experience only acts that is positive, that is helping you, that is respecting you. So whatever is not giving you that respect, whatever is bothering you, is an act that is violating your right to have a joyful life, even if it is on old age.
Yeah. So break it down for us really quickly, different types of abuse. I know that there's the physical, and people feel that if you're not hitting me or if you're not pushing me or shoving me, it's okay with whatever rest that I'm doing. So break it down for us.
Well, of course, the physical abuse is one, the violence that we have seen, but most important is the emotional abuse.
I think, yes.
A lot of people bother because of words that you have used, because of things that you have said about us, because the way you treat us, the way you actually neglect us, the way that you actually don't have attention for us, and you forgot about us, you set us aside. That is the emotional abuse that is hitting the hardest. Loneliness is one of the most expressive ways that our seniors actually feel that they are set aside. And for you not to be lonely, you have to address a company. You need company. So what is the company that we can offer? What is the deeds that we can do that people don't feel that they are lonely and set aside? So that is the part where you can say that the emotional abuse, the psychological abuse can be reduced. And then of course you have different kinds of abuse, financial abuse, even in the heritage for the next generation. Older persons are being robbed from the heritage, from the land that they have. These are things that is happening in St. Martin that have been told to us. So what we see is that there is a lot of different forms of abuse. Every act.
Subtle that they may be, subtle.
Yes. But the tough ones, even any act that is affecting you emotionally for your well-being, is violence against your right to have a decent life. And so the respect that we are due to older persons is something that we have to get back in our society.
Yeah, and so we have, as you said, World Elderly Abuse Awareness Day coming up. What are you doing to commemorate that?
Well, for instance, sitting with you, chatting with you.
Yeah.
But worldwide, in the different countries that I represent, the different organizations, apart from raising awareness, some of them even do action, kind of action that they can do about it. For instance, instead of, I haven't seen you for a long while, they go and visit you. Right. That's a little step already. But what we want to see is not that you come to visit me one day in the year. Yeah. Please come more often, right? And so this is one of the ways. Help me whatever need I have so that I don't have to bother. And then come last but not least, if my little pension is not enough, and in Holland they're getting more, if the tourists that we invite here on our island, they can afford to live independently, autonomously, but I with a little pension, what is the opportunities that I get? It is so important that this right is being addressed. And so this kind of discrimination, we experience it. A lot of our seniors actually tell you, what can we do about it? Yeah. But thanks for the whole movement in the world that it is being promoted, that we help each other out of their situation.
So we keep people hear people keep talking daily about the old age pension, and the small feat is with the high increase in cost of living. Is that something that you would like to champion?
We do. Actually, this week on the radio, you could hear how one of our former politicians, Mr. Will Johnson, was championing for equal pensions in the kingdom, and that they are now addressing the United Nations in Geneva, the Office of the High Commission on Human Rights, because in 2 instances in court, they didn't get the equal right. So it is so important that people stand up for the right and that we all support them in this right. And that's part of my pledge as an ambassador of the movement throughout the Latin American, Caribbean countries, that we support the organizations, we support individuals, and we address on behalf of them the international organizations.
Right. Okay, we'll take a break, and then when we come back, we have a special treat. We have an elderly person that's here, and she's not elderly abused person, but she's in here to chat a little bit about being elderly and some of the personal things that they experience. So you don't want to miss that. Stick around and we'll be back in a moment.
A cruise is a great adventure, not only for passengers, also for us. The Port of St. Martin, our port always reflected the needs and aspirations of the time. From the first to the 1.75 millionth passenger in 2013. Our cruise story started in 1963 with our first cruise passenger. 50 great years later, 20 million passengers later, thousands of cruise berths later, we've become the leading port in the Caribbean. 50 fantastic years. Like a dream. The dream of Port St. Martin lives on and reinvents itself every day. The best is yet to come.
Travel Planners, an award-winning agency on St. Martin with a well-trained, knowledgeable and friendly staff dedicated to making your travel arrangements hassle-free. We can book your airline, car, cruise and hotel reservations to anywhere in the world. Visit our offices or log on to our website and take advantage of our special packages to the Dominican Republic and Puerto Rico. Travel Planners, voted best travel agency on St. Martin.
Today is a very special program to all of us. It's Elderly Awareness Week that's upcoming, and of course Raymond organized the program. As you know, he always has a cause and we always open for him. And so joining us in the studio as we continue is Veronica Arndel. She's a senior citizen. They call her Miss Vero, and she's not abused. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much for joining us on the program. And so Miss Vero, getting older, when you look at yourself today, did you prepare to be a senior citizen?
Not really, because I must say the truth. I know I'm a senior, but it doesn't bother me, because I always feel as long as you can do things for yourself, you can move, you can go to the bank for yourself, you can go to the store for yourself, then I consider it a privilege of being old.
So how do you get around when you have all your little domestic things to do?
Sometimes I call one of my daughters or my grandson, sometimes one of the neighbors, and they take me wherever I want to go.
So you have a good support system.
Yes,
and so tell us about your living situation. I think you said that you live with one of your sons?
He lived at me because
you, right?
Because the roof of his house was blown off by the last hurricane. So he stayed there, and I mean, it's company. Yeah, it's company.
And so we are talking about elderly abuse, and we know that you are not in that situation.
No.
But you know of friends who may have, maybe not physical abuse, but are going through some emotional abandonment, things like that?
Yes.
Could you share a little bit about what your friends...
I have a friend who, she has some children, and sometimes her children, they look for her, but she's almost alone, because she lives in Belvedere, and you know the government doesn't allow you to have children and so. But sometimes I feel so sorry, because she's there, and unless someone of us who's related to her, we are friends, we are relatives, and we go and we sit with her, we talk with her, and then you can see that, hey, this revivement in her face,
so you would say
because
that she's a lonely soul?
Somebody is here, somebody is looking for me. Her children look for her, yes, but they're not there at all time because they're working. So this is one of the things that I find that people know where you live, especially our government. They knows where you live. When it's election time, they find your house, they know to send you a card, and after that, you never see them again till 4 years. This I find is abuse, is disrespectful, because you know then you need them. After that, you don't have any use for them. And I think that sometimes people sit and think about that, and when they think about it, it really hurts.
So how do you keep yourself occupied and out of that lonely box?
Oh, well occupied. I am a part of the Seniors and Pensioners Association. I'm a member of the board. Then I find myself going to a computer class. Then I find myself being one of the Women League of Belvedere Church. And I keep myself busy. At home, sometimes I do CDs. When I say do CDs, I take a CD, cut a picture, make 3D out of it.
Wow. So you keep yourself busy. So
busy.
Let's go back a little bit about your family. How many kids you have? You said that you are 83 years old.
Yes.
Yeah. And how many kids do you have?
I have 7 kids alive. 1 died, which was 8.
Yeah.
And they're all alive. I have a daughter that is a nurse here in town. She works at Canal, Dr. Canal. And then I have a daughter that is a policewoman.
Okay.
She is a teacher right now, teaching for the new students.
Okay. So do they come around enough?
Yeah. One of them live in the yard with me. I live there, and she live on the other side, but in the same yard. So I'm not really lonely for company. That's the fact.
If you could be speaking to a government official right now, which would be your camera here, what would you say to them about elderly abuse and the awareness of it? What do you think we can do to fix that?
I think that the government in itself should pay more attention as to how the elderly are being handled at government places. Because I've gone there many times and I see people being talked to like, what you come here for? You're disgusting. The way they're being treated says those things. Not the person themselves, but their reactions. And then the people just sit, and sometimes you could see they're all annoyed, irritated, but they don't say anything.
So you think we need to improve the level of respect for elderly?
For elderly. A lot.
And so what did you do really quickly to prepare for your retirement?
What I did, I tell myself, look, I need to get a house. I'm going to get a house. And then when I'm finished with that, I don't need to work. And whatever incomes are coming to me, I'm satisfied with it. And this is one of the things that really make some elderly people more irritated, more agitated, because even though they have a house, they're not satisfied with income. Now I say you have to learn that from your inner part, and from your heart you say, hey, if I have $100, I'm satisfied with it.
And you make do with that.
I'll make it do, and you wouldn't believe it stretches.
Okay, Ms. Vera, thank you very much for joining us on the program, and thank you so much for sharing your experiences. And I know that you really shouldn't be sitting in this seat, elderly. So elderly alone. To me, you're so very busy and occupied. But
all
anyway, it's a positive sign, so we could uplift some of those who are at home and more shut-ins.
Before you finish, Bev, this is one thing I've said. The elderly people in St. Martin don't like to speak out.
And they must speak out.
Evening.
So well, here we have a good voice.
Yes.
Okay.
They must speak out.
Okay. take a break. We'll take a break and then we'll come back with more. We'll have somebody else who's going to share their experiences with dealing with the elderly. Yes. Stay tuned and we'll be back in a moment.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
The Daily Herald is my first source for up-to-date information and news. Putting together this program of prime time requires research and knowledge of current events. For local news, regional and international news, do read the Daily Herald. And so we would like to introduce Clara Reyes, and she is the co-director of NIA, which is the National Institution of Arts. Thanks so much for joining us. And of course, our good friend Raymond is back. Raymond, Miss Vero, for an elderly 83-year-old, she's looks pretty good. She's full of spunk, and she seems to have her thing well organized and going.
Right. So the positive part of what we actually want to achieve is that everyone should have a life like Miss Vero. Right?
We know it's not possible, but we're also going to look for ways in which we can make some things better, because you know we can't make all things better. Make some things better, and so we invited Clara, and she's going to give us the young perspective of it. So when you listen to somebody like Miss Vero, what did you say to you? What are you saying to yourself, Clara?
I'm inspired by her, number one, and number two, she's someone I look up to all the time. Like for me, especially because I do a lot of work in culture and arts, they are my idols. They are my doctors. I go to. I always say the doctors. They're my masters. So they have all this wisdom and knowledge about St. Martin history and our way of life and our culture. So they are people that I'm always reaching out to. And in the case of Ms. Vero, I'm always astounded by her demeanor, how well she's. When she said she was 83, I was like, wow, this is what 83 is supposed to look like. You know, well kept, well informed. You know, she takes her time. She's very physical, like she's able-bodied. And for me, that was the elders I remember growing up as a child. So now, in this day and age, when I see so many seniors that are amputated, not feeling well, are bedridden, I'm surprised that we've arrived to that place. But in reality, elders in St. Martin back in the day were like Miss Vero.
Yeah.
You know?
And so you saying you said that you find that they disregarded. A lot of reverence is lacking towards the elderly. Share your input on that.
Well, that's the thing. For me, as someone, again, that works a lot with senior citizens, actually call themselves the older heads, I find that growing up in St. Martin, there used to be a more reverence to who they were. You know, now I feel that they're disregarded. There's almost like they're like forgotten, the forgotten society of St. Martin, when these are the people that actually built our community. These are the ones that brought the friendly in the friendly island, their warmness, their generosity, their industriousness, their hardworkiness, their work ethic, all the things that made us St. Martin. And I feel like nowadays we tend to forget that. It's almost like out of sight, out of mind, and I feel it's almost an insult to them when I see some of the the wage that they receive.
Pensions.
I mean, the numbers that I see on some of the checks, I'm like, I would be embarrassed to be the kind of person that put my signature and said, I'm going to give a 300 gila check or a 500 gila check for someone that has worked so hard and tirelessly to make this community of ours what it is today, that we all benefit from.
I remember you could see the difference of people who you've known were always very upstanding and, you know, always nicely dressed and so on, and they retire and then you can't recognize them.
Right. So that's why it's so important that we bring back the respect. Because when you see such a situation, what is it that you can do to cheer up that person, to help that person, to assist that person? And your left hand should not know what your right hand does.
Yeah.
You know, I'm thinking of all the ways that we're lucky in the National Institute of Arts. We're all sharing the building with Home Away from Home. So every Monday and Friday and Thursday, our students get a chance to interact with them. There have been occasions when we've performed together, when we've danced together. It was a privilege for us to sing for them. And I feel that there should be more programs that is not once a year on Christmas you see everybody going with their grocery bags. And no, this is an all year round event. There are so many organizations that you can go to, the Bethany Home, the one in Hope Estate. And there's all these seniors that are out there that need to be, how you say, woven back into the fabric of our society, not just because of the fact of who they are, but for what they've done in the past. Their wisdom that we lose out on. You know, there's an African proverb that says that if an older person dies, it's like a whole library of information going with them. And I feel that we how you say, we lose out on that capability of the knowledge and the wisdom that they can share with us, that we can learn from. So, like I said, we're lucky enough that in the same building, you have Home Away from Home that we can meet with them.
So does this very remind you of how your mom was?
Absolutely.
Yeah, your mom
Absolutely.
was very industrious and
totally. And I can't believe that at 70 my mother died. It was not a possibility. That 1 minute she was this vibrant, and the next minute, you know, she was diagnosed with cancer, and then within a short period of time she died. But even that whole process of, you know, 1 minute you're taking care of your health and you think you're doing everything right, and then you go to a doctor's visit. He's like, oh no, you have 1 year to live. And I'm like, how are they kept informed? What preventative information are there for them to take to know how to be tested on a consistent basis to avoid these sudden surprises? Like even Mr. Jack on the Hill, that too was a surprise to the community. He was fine 1 minute. So what are we doing to honor them, to treasure them, to how you say, make them reverent in our community, make them relevant in our community? I feel like we've kind of lost that somewhat.
And yes, the elderly are special in our community, and let's take time off to shake a hand and to say hi and to look for somebody we haven't seen for a long time. Thank you so much for watching and joining us. I'll see you next week, and may God bless you.